Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys making some time out of your busy schedules to check the video out. Always very grateful for that. And guys, today got a good video for you guys, and we got another chatterbait video, but this is a little different. We're going to be talking about how to fish a chatterbait in the summertime of the year, which is different as far as how you set it up, the colors, the retrieves, the areas, than any other time of the year. So it's going to be a good video if you guys are interested in catching some fish on the chatterbait right now in the months of July, August, and September. Also, guys, just a couple quick things before we get started. I just want to invite everybody to please consider becoming a channel member here of Intuitive Angling. Channel members get extra videos every week that are not seen by the public, and some access to my personal email address for your fishing questions. And if you're interested, just go to my YouTube homepage, click on the join button for more information on that. Much appreciated with it. Okay guys, the most talked about topic on YouTube as far as bass fishing is probably a chatterbait or a fluke. And again, that's for good reason. Chatterbaits are incredible lures. One of the things about a chatterbait, guys, is I've been around them since they started. The very first time I ever heard about a chatterbait was Brian Thrift won I can't remember what it was. It was maybe it was some FLW tournament, like a Toyota, some type of a AAA Toyota series or something like that down at Lake Okeechobee. Man, probably over 20 years ago. And after he won that tournament, you know, people just thought a chatterbait was like something you threw around vegetation, shallow grass, which that's probably one of the best places to fish it around. But as time went on and people started experimenting with it, they realized how versatile this thing was. And literally, you can catch fish on a chatterbait off of any type of structure, any time of year. It's just a super, super good bait. I think one of the reasons it's a subtle bait, yet it's a power bait. It's got a very unique vibration. It's got a very unique type of water displacement on it. And it's just very appealing to whatever causes fish to strike a bait. But what I want to talk about today's video is some of my favorite ways to fish them during the summertime of the year. And I got several different ways depending upon the type of lake that you're fishing. Now, first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about man-made impoundments and then some natural impoundments, because there's two different ways to fish on that. So let's talk about the man-made impoundments first. In the summertime of the year, when you're fishing a chatterbait in the hot weather, it is super, super critical to find the dirtiest water that you can in the lake, because a couple different reasons for this. It has to do with the fact that the dirtiest water in the lake is usually where the larger populations of shallow fish live, which gives you an advantage there. And also the dirty water is just a lot more conducive as far as the mood and the personality that the bass have with their metabolism in relationship to the water temperature, that they just bite a chatterbait a lot better in the dirtiest water. So look for the dirtiest water that you can find in your lake. And if you have a lake that has water visibility of over about 1.5 feet or 2 foot, or in other words, if you cannot find water visibility that's under 2 foot, the chatterbait's not going to work that good for you in the summertime. But if you guys have a body of water where you've got anything less than 2 foot of visibility, these things are going to work, what I'm talking about. My favorite way, and probably my favorite way to catch bass on a chatterbait in the summertime of the year, is to find shallow boat docks in dirty water. Now, I prefer boat docks that are floating docks, but they can be pier docks as well. But if you can find a boat dock that is like back in the back half of the cove, or the back 2/3 of the cove, and you got water visibility on that boat dock that is specifically around 12 inches or less, you can take this chatterbait in the hottest part of the year, put it on a flipping stick, guys. This is another technique that'll help you out. Put it on a flipping stick, 20-pound test Seaguar and Vizix line, and go to that dock and pitch it and flip it down the corners of the dock and in the boat slips, anywhere that you can find shade, and pitch it as close as you can to that dock, and just reel it with sort of like a medium stop and go retrieve just underneath the boat floats. So in other words, if you got a dock that's in 3 or 4 foot of water, try to reel it down there, maybe a foot or so underneath the water, and you got to try to get it right on that dock. If you flip it in there and you're that far away from the dock, probably not going to catch one. But if you flip it in there and you get that far from the dock, you got a good chance of catching some good ones on there. And that's one of the reasons I like the flipping stick, is that I can put that chatterbait in those super, super tight places. Like say for example, if you got a dock and you've got a boat in the boat slip and you've got like this much, distance between the dock and the boat, it's easy to put it and flip it in those little narrow cracks with a flipping stick. And you can also cast it and skip it. I use that Megabass Alkalies flipping stick. I can skip it, I can pitch it, I can, cast it, whatever I want to do, but it works really, really good for me as far as around those docks. Now, the second type of area with that, again, has to do with dirty water situation. If you've got a lake that doesn't have, many docks in it, but you do have shallow water, you can still catch fish on a chatterbait around those, whatever shallow cover that's available. It could be rock. I've caught them just on dirty rocks like riprap, next to logs, lay down trees. Obviously, if you got lily pads or some type of grass, that's really good. Any type of dirty water is going to be a really good place to fish them in the summertime. And always remember, in the summertime when that water temperature is pushing 80 degrees or more, use that medium stop and go retrieve. You don't have to burn it, but in that dirty water, just use that medium stop and go retrieve. A lot of times chatterbait fishing and other times of the year, people use like a slow roll and retrieve, or they're pumping it, but just a straight medium stop and go retrieve around that shallow cover is going to be the best way to do it. Now, before we get into the natural lakes, I want to talk a little bit about color, guys. This is my favorite color setup for the summertime of the year. I like a black blade for whatever reason. I'm not sure what it is. I get more bites on a black blade than I do a silver blade. This one's scraped up, you can see. Sometimes just take, if they get scraped up, guys, just take some black fingernail polish and touch them up. But I like some type of a shad skirt, and then I use this new Zoom shimmy shad. I like the chartreuse back and the white on it. But guys, this, I don't know if you've seen this. I'll link this in my Tackle Warehouse link in the video here. This Zoom shimmer shad is what everybody's using on chatterbaits now. The thing is freaking awesome. So you can get, if you want to use that link in the description, you can get you some of those. But anyway, guys, that's the setup I use. It seems like they like some type of a shad pattern in the summertime, more than any other colors. Occasionally, I will use a perch pattern. If I'm back in some coves and I notice some bluegill spawning, I'll put in some type of a green pumpkin or orange or chartreuse. But this is my favorite setup right here. Black blade, some type of translucent shad skirt, and that chartreuse white Zoom shimmy shad on it. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about natural lakes. For you guys that are fishing either, Florida, grass lakes, or you guys that are fishing smallmouth waters up north, the natural lakes up there. First, the smallmouth. Guys, a chatterbait in the summertime is a deadly lure on smallmouth, but you fish it different than you've ever fished a chatterbait before. What you want to do is get you a 3/8 ounce chatterbait or bladed jig or whichever to do, not the half ounce, the 3/8 ounce. And get out there on those big shallow flats. I don't care if you're fishing Champlain or any of the Great Lakes, Ontario, Erie, Lake St. Clair, all those northern tier lakes. Get out there in those shallow flats in 3 to 8 foot of water. Take the same deal, shad pattern, skirt just like this, and get out there and make long casts with that thing. Keep your rod tip high and burn that thing super fast. And you want to keep this chatterbait like 2 or 3 inches under the surface. And that thing will sort of just go like this everywhere. Guys, those big smallmouth will come up and annihilate this thing, but you can't drop it down. This is the whole key. If you throw it out there and you keep your rod tip high and you let it go down like 2 foot, you're never gonna catch one. You've got to burn it and you've got to reel it fast enough to where it's only like that far under the water. And guys, it's some of the funnest fishing you'll ever see. Sometimes I'll put a little trailer hook on it for the smallmouth. And as far as for the southern lakes, like the Florida lakes, all guys fishing Lake Okeechobee, some of the grass lakes in Texas out there. The main thing with this is I like to key on lily pads in the summertime. I don't catch as many around hydrilla and milfoil and some of those other type of submergent grasses, but I like to look for lily pad fields and just pitch and flip the chatterbait in around some of the tighter areas next to the shady places in the lily pads. But anyway, guys, that's how I catch them on a chatterbait in the summertime. Catches lots of fish, it catches big ones, and just experiment with it. It's like wherever you're catching fish, like if you're catching them on a square bill crankbait or a topwater or pitching and flipping around some targets, just sometimes try a chatterbait. Sometimes the mood and the personality of the fish are just really conducive to that. So anyway, hope it helps you guys catch a few. We'll talk later.